pretty sure.
Yeah,
You know that.
He's trying to stir something up. I caught that.
Yeah, but I'll bring it back because just those thoughts you were talking about, Michelle and the girls,
Right.
Family.
Right.
You know, being a leader of the world,
Right.
balancing being a leader of the world as well as being a leader at home.
Right.
How were you able to balance those moments?
It wasn't always balanced. And this, I'm sure you guys can relate to, right? If you want to be excellent at anything, sports, music, business, politics, there are going to be times in your life where you're out of balance, where you're just working and you're single-minded, and for me, you know, when I was running for president, I think I went about a year and a half where I was maybe home on weekends, and the kids were so small. Michelle was working. We weren't rich, so it wasn't like Michelle could quit her job. You know, so she was carrying a huge load during that time, and which she reminds me continuously, and rightfully so, because she made a lot of sacrifices. Interestingly, by the time I got to the White House, it was actually better, because the thing about being in the White House is people come to you instead of you going to them. I mean, you live above the store, right? It was literally a 30-second commute. So I set up a rule where I'd have dinner with the family every night at 6:30, and even if I had to go back to work, go back down to the office, I'd come up, spend time with the kids, spend time with Michelle, and then go back down. But you know what you start realizing is that they ground you and they give you perspective, and over time that makes you better, right? So I'd be down dealing with some legislative issue, trying to pass, you know, Obamacare, or trying to deal with some international issue, Iraq, Afghanistan. Then I come up, and my girls, they don't want to hear anything about that, you know. So I'm sitting there eating dinner, and they're talking about, you know, this teacher who, you know, is kind of cross-eyed, or some kid who, you know, acting a fool. And they've got their own stories, and it gives you some sense of reality and perspective. And that, I think, for me at least, was a good way of getting out of my own head. Right. And you know, I was lucky that Michelle was such an extraordinary mother, and the girls, I think, naturally were just happy spirits that you know, they still love me after all I put them through, and I will always be grateful for them. Right? Yeah, but it's not easy, you know, and sometimes Michelle and I, when we're talking to young people, and we talk about, you know, their careers, you know, it's still different, unfortunately, for men and women. You know, I mean, I think women who want to pursue professional careers, it's still harder because people still feel as if the lion's share of the work still falls on them. But in both cases, what we try to say is you can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. And you know, you have to recognize there may be times in your life where you are going to be busy, and then the other person has to pick up the slack, but you have to be willing to do that for the other person as well, and try to create some kind of equity inside the family. And I haven't always gotten that perfect, but you know, I keep trying though. I keep trying.
We all have children. My son plays at Notre Dame.